Hey everyone, welcome to Know Like Trust for Real Estate, where I help you craft branding and marketing strategies that align with your unique strengths. I'm Christine George, and agents who work with me grow their business on average 40% by aligning their marketing with who they are, not what they sell. Today, we're talking all about how to be scroll stopping. Have you ever been to a presentation or listened to a podcast or maybe even been in church and you thought, whoa, this person is speaking directly to me? Like, I feel like there's nobody else in the room. Better yet, have you ever left a presentation like that and gone out and actually been inspired to take action? Well, that's what happens when your message is clear, concise, and emotionally resonant. And so the question I have for you, and the question we're going to answer today is, are you doing that for your clients? Are you speaking clearly and concisely to your dream client so that they're inspired to pick up the phone and call you when they need to buy or sell, or better yet, when they know somebody who's ready to buy or sell? Today, we're going to talk exactly about that. Why are so many agents blending in? Why are they forgettable? And we're going to talk about how to actually fix that. So first, I want to talk about why. What is causing so many agents to actually blend in? And there are so many reasons. I'm going to focus on 3 of those today. So the first one is that your marketing or their marketing is cluttered. And when I say that, what I mean is so many agents out there are putting everything, like the whole kitchen sink, so to speak, onto one post. And so you've got an image and you've got text, and then you've got your contact information and your picture. And then somewhere in the midst of all of that is the beautiful property you're looking to show. What happens when you do that, when everything is cluttered like that, people keep scrolling. When you create your Canva images for social media, or when you create images for your email, I want you to think about how you consume information from platforms like Instagram or Facebook or TikTok. Think about the content that actually gets you to stop scrolling. If you're like me, well, hopefully you're not like me. I too often get caught up in the clothing and the shoe and the accessory ads that are put in front of me. I'm very guilty of, clicking and then actually making purchases online because the ads are super scroll stopping. So how do we get you to be super scroll stopping? The first piece is to really look at how you're creating your posts. Don't forget that you have an entire caption that you can use to put all of the detail in, and better yet, you can drive people to your website. So when you're creating your visuals or your posts, you want to make sure they're super, super clean and that you know exactly what the message you want them to receive. The second reason that so many agents are getting lost in the shuffle is that their branding is not consistent. And I see this all the time. I see multiple fonts. One of my, biggest pet peeves is that I see a lot of scripty font on images, and scripty font is really hard to read. And so you want to minimize the amount of scripty font that you use. But using multiple fonts on multiple different posts, not staying true to the 1 or 2 fonts that are representative of your brand. Also, not being consistent with your color palette. Oftentimes I see agents whose, email signature or their Instagram posts are different from what's on their collateral or in their email newsletter. And so you want to make sure that whatever you're putting out there is going to be absolutely consistent across the board. And oftentimes we get really bored with it. I mean, I get bored with my Post and Beam Creative color palette and, font treatments. I feel like, oh my God, I need to refresh them. And that's when you want to resist the urge to do that, and you want to stay the course and continue to put forth that consistency in your fonts and your color treatments so that you start to create that memorability. And then the third thing is using generic content. And I see this all the time. I see agents either curating content or using stock images that really, have no relation to your brand. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself when it comes to creating content. If you could take that exact content, put another agent's name and brand on top of it, and it wouldn't be weird, then you know that you need to change up your content. You want your content to be so specific and so aligned with your brand, which is not just your fonts and your color treatments, but it's your personality too. You want to make sure it aligns so beautifully that if you put another agent's name on it, it just wouldn't make sense. So that's why I think so many of us are just blending in and we're not scroll stopping. So what it actually means to stand out is to make sure that you're speaking clearly and that you know who your audience is. Who is that dream client you're trying to reach? What are their fears? What are their pain points? What brings them joy? What are their desires? What is their lifestyle? What are the things that they like to do? What are the things that they don't like to do? It also means showing up as yourself, fully, completely, and unapologetically. And this is where so many of us really fall apart because, and I do this too, you guys. I worry about what I look like. I worry about what I sound like. As I'm sitting here recording this today, I'm doing a million takes. I'm creating tons of bloopers for my editor. He's probably on the other side of the screen laughing hysterically right now. But at the end of the day, the goal is to speak in your voice, speak in your cadence. Speak with your hands or not with your hands. Use the words and the phrases that you naturally use. Talk to the camera. Talk to your platforms like you would talk to a friend. You want to really make sure that you're showing up unapologetically as yourself. And again, I know that's easier said than done. The more you get out there and do it, the easier it will get. What do we do instead? What do we do to become scroll stopping? Well, I already gave you some tips, right? You want to be consistent in your color palette. You want to be consistent in your font treatments. Make sure you're not cluttering up your social media. You want to make sure that you're not using generic content. And so what does that mean? What does it mean to show up unapologetically? What does it mean to show your personality? And so I want to give you an example that I use a lot in presentations that I do. I always talk about this idea of a word bank, right? So what are the words and phrases that are in your word bank? Meaning the words and phrases that when you say them, people associate that with you. And they don't have to be unique words, right? So I'm going to give you this example. And excuse me as I try to imitate here. When I say, "How you doing?" Who do you think of? If you're thinking of Joey from Friends, you are correct. Now, those three words, "how you doing," I say them all the time. You probably say them all the time. But when they're said in the way that Joey says them, I did my best impression there. Okay, this is me being totally me, right? Goofy and all. When you hear Joey say it, it sounds totally different, right? It's the tone of voice he uses, it's the depth of his voice, it's his body language, it's how he looks at you when he says it. And so that's what I mean when I say, find the words and phrases that you use all the time with people, that you naturally use. You may not even think of them. Write them down and use them. Those are things that make you memorable. I also want you to show the imperfect moments. You're not one-dimensional. We're not one-dimensional. And actually, a couple of weeks ago, I put together, my editor, Jesse, actually put together a blooper reel of all of these podcasts. And I wanted to put them out there because, my God, I do so many takes. And I'm such a goofball and I'm such a perfectionist. And I wanted people to know that's really what happens behind the scenes. So being imperfect, making mistakes, owning up to your mistakes, those things are really important in terms of building trust, building credibility. So I want you to do those things. Those are the things that are scroll stopping. Those are the things that help you to become memorable. And then the last thing is, don't worry about repeating your message. In fact, repeat. Because chances are that people have not seen your message. They have not heard your message. There are so much noise out there that people need to see things at least 7 times. These days, probably more like a dozen times before they either hear it for the first time or before it really starts to sink in and resonate. So I always say, just when you think you're being spammy, that's when you want to continue, again, to stay the course. And I think the last thing that's really important as it relates to not just becoming scroll stopping, but also just being successful in your business is to stay the course. Stay the course, stay the course. I can't emphasize that enough. We live in a world where we have instant gratification, where we can order something from Amazon and have it delivered to our house in a couple of hours. But when it comes to building a strong, memorable brand, it doesn't happen in a couple of hours. It doesn't happen in a couple of days. It doesn't even happen in a couple of months. It takes years. It's essentially building your reputation. And so when that squirrel comes running across, when that distraction comes in, before you do anything, I want you to just take a breath and stay the course. Don't let the shiny objects distract you. I want to give you 2 real-world examples of agents who I think do a phenomenal job of building their brand online. The first one, and I mentioned this in my last solo episode, so if you want to check that out, it is episode 116. The first one is the Mitchell Gatto team. These are clients of mine. They're with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Page Realty in Millis, Massachusetts. And these are 2 women who also are yoga teachers. Their personality together is just smart but fun. Smart but fun. They're highly successful. And when you go to their Instagram account, you'll see what I mean when I say they're fun and they're funny. They just put together, as of today, which is July 23rd, I think it was yesterday, they put an Instagram reel out there where the 2 of them are literally rolling on the floor in towards each other. And they're freaking adorable. I love them. And they make me laugh. And anytime I see one of their reels come up, I stop because I know it's going to be entertaining. So that's one. The other, kind of the opposite spectrum, the other example is Lauren O'Brien. Lauren is an agent with Leading Edge Real Estate in Reading, Massachusetts. I've known Lauren for many, many years. And she also is extremely consistent. This is one of the things she's so good at. She's consistent. She does a Wednesday wisdom video. Her tips are always real world tips. They're not these like generic, declutter your house type tips. They're always things that are a little bit different, that kind of like blow your mind. I mean, they're like, oh, I never even thought about that. So they're really, really good tips that she puts out. And she's also very systematic with her clients. So not just from a marketing perspective, but from an operations perspective, operationally, how you run your business, how you treat your clients, how you follow up with your clients, those things also are really important as it relates to building your brand. And Lauren has a system in place where she makes sure she is treating every client with the highest level of follow-up and responsiveness and highest level of detail. And so she's definitely someone you want to check out on Instagram as well. And then I just want you to remember back to that example when you were in a presentation or you listened to a podcast where you really felt that person was speaking directly to you, and ask yourself, what do I need to do to make sure my clients or my prospects feel that same way about me? Those are the things that are going to help you. Answering that question is the thing that's going to help you to be scroll stopping. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Make sure to click your follow-up button on your podcast app to make sure you never miss another episode. And of course, sign up for my newsletter, The Sunbeam. Go to postandbeamcreative.com. Also, if you're interested in being a guest on the show and being coached for free with me about your biggest marketing challenge, I would love to hear from you. Go to coachingwithchristinegeorge.com and apply to be on the show. I'm Christine George, and you're listening to Know, Like, Trust for Real Estate.